Am I the asshole for logging into my friend's email account and declining her university's offer of admission? Throwaway, because my friend knows my main Reddit account. Also, English is not my first language, so apologies for any grammar or mispronunciation mistakes. I will refer to the country we initially planned to go to as country X, and the country my friend might be going to as country Y. I might also consider editing this post later on to hide other personal information to make it less obvious it's me in case people I know see this post. I hope that's fine. Ever since I was a child, I always dreamed of studying abroad. We all know the benefits of studying abroad, and I am sure if I don't profit from this now, I will forever regret it later on. Luckily for me, my parents are financially stable and can afford sending me abroad in order to gain such an invaluable experience. However, there is one catch. That is, I must go with a friend of mine as they won't send me there alone. I thought this wasn't a problem since I had been planning to go with my friend to country X. This month, things changed. My friend and I applied to 2 universities in different countries. One of them doesn't have a capita on the number of students it can accept, but the other one does. My friend got accepted to both of them, but I only did to one. Both of them are good universities, and objectively, one is not better than the other, but their education system does differ. When my friend got accepted to the university in country Y, she told me that there is a possibility she will go there instead, as she has relatives there that will allow her to stay in their house without her having to pay rent. I was heartbroken by the news. How could she do this to me? She knows how much I want to study abroad and is well aware of the fact that my parents will not let me go alone. I told my parents about this, and they assured me that if there is no other person I can go with, then I will be studying here instead. I could not let this happen. Although she didn't say she is going to do it for sure yet, I need a definite answer, or else I'm kept being stressed about it. My friend once told me her password on a game we play, and I tried to see if she still had the same password for her email account, and it turns out she did. So I logged in and I rejected her admission offer, and then I logged out. My friend still doesn't know this, but she will soon. I told my parents about it to assure them that my friend will now be going with me, but they got so upset at me and are now threatening me that they are going to call my friend's parents and tell them what I did. I begged them not to, but they are not listening to me. They want to do it in case she can still email the university. In the end, I told them to let me tell her instead, and they agreed to it, although I don't think I'm going to. Now that you guys know why I did this, do you still think I'm the asshole here? What was my fault for being forced to go with a friend? Edit. We are only 20 minutes in, and I have already received DMs that range from insults to threats and attempted doxing. While I can accept the insults, no matter how harsh they are, I cannot accept the threats. First of all, I was not born yesterday. I am well aware of the fact that even if I used a throwaway, my friend will most likely know it's me from the post, and I will consider editing or deleting this post later on if necessary. Also, it's not funny to act in the DMs like you are my friend. I know my friend's Reddit username. Please just do what you are supposed to do. Judge me. But try to do it without insulting me or worse, threatening me. Also, I will no longer be responding to DMs. Keep all the comments here where the mods can moderate. Am I the asshole for getting into my bed in my dorm when my roommates had let their drunk friend sleep there? The girl was weirded out that I slept in the same bed as her. So this is a weird one. I'm a college freshman in a triple dorm, meaning 3 girls in 1 room. My two other roommates are really close friends and have a large friend group who hangs out in the room a lot. I'm not so close to them or their group, plus I'm in a crazy demanding degree, so I really just come there to sleep. Often, I also sleep at my girlfriend's apartment, so I'm not even there at night. Anyway, I get home on a Thursday at almost 1 a.m. I'm extremely tired and my roommates are in bed. Plus, there is some girl I don't know in my bed, fast asleep. I give her a poke and I'm like, hey, this is my bed, but she is out cold. I decide, fuck it, I need to sleep and I have really high stakes exams in the morning and I just need to get into bed anyway. This girl smelled like tequila and I figured maybe my roommates went out drinking and know her. I felt like rude that they put her to bed in my bed without asking me, but whatevs. I'm too exhausted to deal with it. I had an exam first thing in the morning and had no time or energy to deal with whatever was up. So I just roll her over into the corner by the wall and I go to bed myself. I also figured she probably wouldn't be so surprised to have the person whose bed it was show up to sleep if she'd decided to go to sleep in a stranger's dorm bed, and that we could sort shit out in the morning. Anyway, I wake up at 7 a.m. to get ready for my exams, and when I get up, the girl wakes up and is really weirded out that I was sleeping in bed with her. I was like, girl, that is my bed. What are you doing in my bed? Apparently, my roommates said the bed was empty and that I wouldn't be home all weekend because, quote unquote, I never am, and that she could sleep there. I was like, no, I literally live here. This is my bed that I sleep in. Maybe next time, sleep with someone you know. She was upset I got in bed with her without waking her, and I said that I did try, but she was out cold. My roommates woke up at this point and were like saying that I wasn't supposed to be home that night because I was with my girlfriend. I said, yeah, she and I went to dinner, but I wasn't planning on sleeping at her place since I have morning exams on campus. Anyway, why was someone I don't even know in bed with me? My roommates said they all drank too much and they didn't want her driving, and I said fine, but one of them should have slept with her. My roommates and this girl were upset with me for just getting into bed without waking them up. My roommates said they would have dealt with stuff if I woke them, but I made their friend feel really uncomfortable by getting into this little twin bed with her. I was so confused, like, oh, I bothered this girl by getting to sleep in my own bed and also left pretty quickly because I had an exam at 9 a.m. Stuff has been really strained with my roommates and I since. I'm really frustrated with them because I had some really high-stake exams the next day and needed a good night's sleep with no bullshit. And I come home to a super drunk stranger in my bed. So, am I the asshole for getting in bed when my roommates put a drunk stranger in my bed? Am I the asshole for saying I married my husband because I didn't want my son to grow up like my sister-in-law did? Having a mistress or several is a very common thing in my husband's family. So, there are a lot of illegitimate children running around. However, the difference between how the legitimate children are treated compared to the illegitimate children is like night and day. Unless the child is lucky and the wife wants to raise them. My husband's half-sister is an example of one of the lucky ones. Even though she was raised in the same house as my husband, he was treated far better than her because of their father. The only reason she was raised by my mother-in-law was because she had always wanted more children but couldn't have any of her own. My sister-in-law's biological mother never wanted to give her up, but they made her using money and threats. When I first found out I was pregnant and he told me I could either marry him or give him the baby, I felt like I had no other option, especially when my sister-in-law told me he was being 100% serious. It also didn't help that my sister-in-law knew exactly who he would marry if I refused, and I definitely didn't want that woman to be my son's stepmother. Recently, my husband's cousin brought up our wedding because she wants to marry her boyfriend of 4 months, and her family are telling her not to. She was using us as an example of marriages being successful after only dating for a short time when you know it's quote unquote true love. Honestly, nobody is going to be surprised to hear that my marriage is far from a success, at least not currently. But my husband doesn't like anyone knowing about his private business, so no one in his family even suspects a thing. At one point, she tried to get me to back her up, but I just couldn't. So I said, honestly, that I had only married my husband because I didn't want my son to grow up like my sister-in-law did, and that it was never about true love. Now I have several different people angry at me for different reasons. My in-laws for making them seem like they treated my sister-in-law badly, my husband for sharing his private business and making him look like a bad husband, and the cousin because now everyone is doubling down on her even more. So, am I the asshole for saying I married my husband because I didn't want my son to grow up like my sister-in-law? Am I the asshole for agreeing with my daughter that I didn't like her name? Mildred. That is my 6-year-old daughter's name. I fought so hard to not have her name that, but my wife was dead set on it. Who even names their kid Mildred anymore? Are we in the 19th century or something? And plus, I know how kids are. Sure enough, I picked up my daughter from school today, and usually she's excited when I pick her up, but she was quiet. I kept asking her what was wrong, and when we were almost home, she finally confessed and said that someone in her class had said that her name sounded like a grandma, basically old. She said she didn't like her name anymore, and I tried to sympathize by saying, "I'm sorry, kiddo. Yeah, I never liked your name either. I thought it was a stupid name when I first heard it, but everyone in the family thought it was okay, and I got shut down. But on the bright side, you can change it when you get older." We were in the garage by then, and she looked at me in horror and said, "You don't like my name either?" And she opened the door, crying, and ran inside before I could catch her. She told her mother that I said her name was stupid. Somehow, she also forgot to mention the kid in her class who started it. And even after I explained the entire situation to my wife, she was mad and wanted me to apologize. I refused and said, "Apologize for what? I don't like the name. I never liked the name, and our daughter doesn't even like the name." I was mad at the moment too, so I walked away, but later I tried to talk to our daughter and ask why she just started crying like that because I was genuinely confused, and I still am, to be honest. But all she said was that she wasn't happy at me, that she didn't want to talk to me right at the moment. Honestly, I'm not too worried about my daughter because she's 6, so she'll probably forget it by tomorrow or like a week at most. But my wife is really mad at me right now because she was telling me that I should apologize tomorrow, and I kept saying no. I think she just feels guilty that she named our daughter Mildred. But I'm curious if I'm the asshole here. All I did was agree with my daughter when she said she didn't like her name. I still want an explanation why she started crying like that. So, am I the asshole for agreeing with my daughter that I didn't like her name, Mildred?